Hello, World Wide Web. Welcome back to the Hangin' with Web show. I'm GW Pomichter. Thank you so much for logging on and tuning in. Hit subscribe. Come back over and over again. We've got authors, artists, filmmakers, musicians, creative minds of all kinds right here on the Hangin' with Web show. So hit the little bell and get notified when we have a new creator on the show. We are at Indie Bookfest 2019 in Orlando, Florida, and we're hanging out right now with author Theresa Sederholt, the author of The Unraveling of Raven.
Yes.
Okay, The Unraveling of Raven. This is your first book.
That was my first
Yeah,
book.
this was your first book. Okay, so we're going to start at the beginning of Theresa's career, work our way up to, what you're doing now, okay? So The Unraveling of Raven. Give us the book blurb first. Tell us a little bit of what's this book about?
It's about a young woman in her early 20s who's trying to make it through life unscathed. She's had a lot thrown at her, and she just wants to play it cool and be not noticed. And in the interim, she literally bumps into a gentleman who rocks her world. And him, Jax is his name, he is a guy in his early 30s who made a lot of money very quickly and doesn't know how to handle it. And he doesn't want to be the guy that can't just go out and do whatever he wants to do. And he's bored with life. And then he meets Raven, and he's trying to get to the bottom of her, unravel everything about her.
Wow.
And life throws a lot of curveballs. When you think that you know what's going to happen, you don't.
Which is like life. Because
Exactly.
right about the time we think, I got this, bam.
Exactly.
So, wow. Okay, so how long, when did this come out?
Okay, so I graduated criminal justice major from Campbell University, and I had nothing to do. And it came out in 2014. My husband said to me, why don't you just write a book? You've done everything else in life. Write a book. So I wrote this book, and I put it out there thinking, well, my mother would buy it, And then...
No, I know. Mine didn't buy mine either.
And then...
Hi.
all of a sudden, I started getting, messages on Facebook because this ends with a major cliffhanger. When is book 2 coming out? And I'm like, oh, who are these people and why do they want to know this? And my husband's like, I think you better write the second book. And then it just snowballed after that. And the third book in the trilogy won Book of the Year, Cover of the Year, and I won Up and Coming Artist of the Year.
Awesome. That is fantastic.
When you think you have it figured out, you don't.
That's true. It
And
is the truth.
it's very twisted.
It is the truth. Like many of us, you came to being a creative artist. Just like you said, your husband said, hey, why don't you write a book?
Yeah.
And there it was. There was something there for you. There was a calling in there for you that you didn't realize.
Exactly.
And obviously readers liked it.
I'm on my 10th book, so.
You're on your 10th book?
10th book.
Wow. Multiple series, all the same series?
Some are multiple series, some are standalones.
Can you put? It's hard with an indie author to do this, but I'm going to try anyway. Can you put this in a specific genre?
Romantic suspense.
Romantic suspense. Okay.
Always romantic suspense for me.
That's for you. That's
Yes.
That's where you find
Yes.
yourself gravitating. Okay. Why? What pushes you into that? What pulls you into writing that? Is it what comes naturally? Is it an interest?
Well, I think it's everything. It comes natural to me. Like I said, my degree is in criminal justice. My concentration was in serial killers, which started...
Which is where the suspense comes from.
which started my second series, my 5th series that has blown up now. And I like to keep the reader guessing. I like to keep myself guessing. As I go through and I'm writing this, sometimes I think, why are you doing this? And then I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Oh, we'll pay that off now. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. What drew you to the romance?
Every girl loves romance. Come on.
I walked into that.
You stepped right in that.
I stepped right in it. There's nothing. I can't even take that back. I was out there. The question is there. It's true. You know what? I think writers tell the truth. We tell something about the human condition.
Yeah.
And like you said, you know, whether it's the basic understanding of the fact that we'll never understand life, or it's in the suspense and wanting to be kept guessing. But we're at our most basic when it comes to romance.
We all want to be loved.
That's where we live. We want to connect. We want to be loved. Yeah, everybody wants to connect, to be loved, to love, and that's a place where, you know, you find us at our most basic needs.
Right.
So, now, how many books? 10?
10 books.
10 books now. It all came from Raven here.
It all started with her.
She started it all, right? Now, you have a storied life yourself.
Oh,
Went to school for criminal justice.
we need hours here for that.
Hours and hours. I love the accent from up north. I'm homesick now. Because, see? But that's because we're in Florida, and this is really just sort
An
of...
annex to New York.
Annex to New York and New Jersey. I mean, let's face it. There's 3 parts of Florida. I figured this out. There's North Florida, which is actually South Georgia. And then there's South Florida, which is actually North Cuba. And, you know, and a lot of actually Caribbean states. And then there's Central Florida, which is South Jersey or South New York.
Exactly.
Because that's where a native Floridian is almost a rare. It's like seeing a rare bird.
Yes.
There's not very many of them. So writing is you know, you didn't start out to be a writer. You had a whole life, and then all of a sudden here you are. What's been the best part about this journey so far for you as a creative artist?
The people that I meet, the readers that I've connected with, all of my books have a message in them. And that's really important to me, whether it deals with PTSD or if it deals with cancer or whatever, because we've all gone through things. And everything has a message, and readers have connected to that. And I get so many letters and emails from people, and they come to shows and they're just overwhelmed, which overwhelms me.
Is there any greater feeling than have a reader come up and say, that character, that story made me feel something? That's just an amazing moment.
It is
as a
amazing.
Writer. So 2014 to now, 10 books. That's pretty aggressive writing habits there.
Sometimes they don't stop talking in your head.
It's true, and this is the only career you can have where no one will lock you up when you say that.
Exactly.
In fact, the only thing they're going to do is go, shh, she's writing.
She's writing.
Okay, so you have Maribel's, I can't read that.
Maribel's Decadent Miniatures.
Maribel's Decadent Miniatures.
Yes, it's a paranormal / romance, light paranormal romance, and it's a novella, and it's about a man who's like Ralph Cramden. Do you know who Ralph Cramden is?
I do.
Okay.
They don't, because that's YouTube, and they're all 12.
Of
no,
course.
I'm kidding. I know you're not 12. Please don't go away. But Ralph Cramden was the lead character in
The Honeymooners.
The Honeymooners, 1930s. Yes. Jackie Gleason.
Yes.
It made Jackie Gleason huge.
He always wants to find that easy way of get rich quick thing. And he lives in his parents' basement, and his best friend lives in his parents' basement. They get together and they create a website, and they create a pastry shop, and they deliver these pastries, these little macaroons, and it takes off, and he encounters a lot of problems.
Which happens when you launch a business from your parents' basement.
Exactly.
It does happen.
And you think that you can do it all. It's no big deal.
Yeah, you know, I think after I wrote my first book, I felt like that. There it is. I'm published. I'm the next Stephen King.
They're doing this in between video games, trying to do just enough to get by.
Just that much.
To shut his parents up so they don't say, go out and get a real job. So.
Wow, and you know, the sad thing is that the parents here, we've all had this conversation. Go, do something, anything, right? Yep. And that's an amazing story to tell, because it's a true life coming of age story. But, you know, a lot of times we get these coming of age stories and they're steeped in fantasy and heroism. But a true life coming of age story is that moment when you realize that things don't happen overnight, that you have to work for it, and mom and dad telling you the basement is, we're going to turn that into a rec room, so go.
Yes, exactly.
So, all right, that's fantastic. Oh, I like that. I like because of the story she's telling too. So you ever have a moment when you're reading along as you write, and that moment touches you the most? It makes you laugh, it makes you cry, it makes you feel for that moment. What is the standout moment in either? I tell you what we'll do, because you had 10 books to go through, guys. The first book and the most recent book. Okay, so standout moments. When did you think that this was going to do well? When did you know?
When I started getting all the emails and the messages on Facebook.
So really it was out there already?
Yeah, all hours of the night, what happened? What's going to happen? We need to know now. And I'm like, oh, okay, Let me stop what I'm doing.
Oh, wow. And now your most recent book, when is the moment when you were writing that you felt like, this has got legs?
When he realizes that he's really not Ralph Cramden, and he really can go to the next level and create something really special.
That's kind of cool.
And it makes you feel good.
When your character has a moment of self-realization and you feel it, that's a good moment. Your readers are going to feel it. If you could feel it, your readers are going to feel it.
Yes.
And that's writing fiction, writing anything. That's what it's all about. Moments in transition. It's the moment of change, when we go from being what we were to what we're going to be. And when you can feel that change as the writer, it's rare because you know it's coming. You've got this mapped out and planned, and where you're putting the pieces together. But when you actually feel, oh, this character grew, and it seems like it didn't happen. It seems like you didn't do it.
Exactly. When in the third book in this trilogy, when I was at one point writing a scene and I'm hysterical crying, and my husband looks over at me and says, but you're writing it, you know what's coming. It doesn't matter.
I don't feel like I know it.
Feel it. It's gut wrenching.
That's awesome. I usually wait when I'm writing, because I write a thought at a time. And so I have to wait till I go back over the page. And when I start going through the page, and all of a sudden I'm like, what? Nothing. It's dusty in here.
Yeah.
Just fix the air. I don't know, because I have to go back to that page. So it's really great when you see those moments in your writing, because it's rare. You do know what's coming most of the time, and you plot it and plan it, even in your mind a little bit, just a little bit. What kind of a writer are you? Are you a plotter? Do you plot things out really good, or do you kind of just hit the keyboard and go?
I just hit the keyboard and go. And a lot of times it's when I'm driving down the road. I'm like, right now? Really?
Now? Really? Yeah. Wow. What are you working on?
I have 3 books I'm working on right now at the same time.
Yeah, because you have that look about you. Your mind is always going.
It's always
you're working
going.
on something.
It's always going.
3 now.
3 right now.
3 right now you're working on.
Yes.
All romance?
No.
No, working on something different.
One has to do with domestic violence, but from a man's point of view.
Wow. Now, from the abuser's point of view, or from a male victim's point of view?
A male victim.
Wow.
Very underlooked.
We're prideful creatures. We are, and that's just the truth. There are many male victims of domestic violence out there, many of whom, for the exact opposite reason of women not coming forward, many of whom don't come forward because they don't want to be perceived as they could be victimized.
Yes.
We kind of got that macho, like I'm 5'8" and 150 pounds, okay, come on, I could be victimized easily by most people, like my small children, but we don't like to think of it that way.
Right.
We're kind of, we all grew up with this kind of bravado in our DNA or in our environment.
With the strong guy.
We're not supposed to be able to have that happen, so for you to attack that issue, what was that like to try to?
Well, I volunteered for 2.5 years with a domestic violence place and I saw men come through there, but very rarely. And it stuck with me. And I felt it's not right. They need an outlet. They need to have a place where they can feel safe. Because if a woman comes up to you and she starts beating on you and you go to defend yourself, she can turn that into she's the victim and you're the abuser. And this is what the man runs through his head. Or
Yeah.
I'm so embarrassed. I'm getting beat up by this woman and I can't do nothing about it. Because society says I can't touch her. I can't defend myself. What do I do?
And we're all guilty of it. Parents, we're all guilty of this because we tell our little boys this.
Yes.
We tell her, we try, we want to stave off that abusive personality that we know is out there. It's very real.
Yeah.
But we want to stave it off in our sons, and we always tell them, to treat women better with more respect, and don't hit a girl and don't abuse a girl. But we forget that there's a flip side to that too, and we have to tell them don't be abused either.
Right.
And if it happens, you have to say something. You have to talk about it. You can't hide from it, because if you do, trying to think you're the tough guy, and you get hurt.
Right.
You can get hurt, and I think you hit it right on the head. You're exploring in this story too, more than just the physical hurt. That's an entire. Good, bad, or indifferent, we're a prideful part of the species.
Right.
The male creature is a prideful part of the species. It does a terrible thing to the mind for a man to have to acknowledge that abuse.
Yeah.
And even if they don't talk to anybody else about it or whatever, they're going to carry it with them forever, and it has horrible effects, including becoming abusive, which is awful. So, wow. You dove into something way in deep water.
I never take the easy road.
Never take the easy road.
Yeah.
You got two others too?
Yeah.
You could swim in that pool and two more at the same time. Wow. This is Aquaman. This is
Aquawoman.
Aquawoman. See what I did there? Anyway, it works. Guys, that's my shut up card because we've been hanging out here for a while. So we are going to say thank you to our partners and friends at Krypton Radio, our great friend Rick Shea at Famous Faces and Funnies, Space Coast Comics, Indie Originals, Josh Bauer at J. Bauer Art for all these amazing pieces on our set, our great friends at the Foxwood Wine Company for these really comfy chairs, and our friends over at Hearts Helping Others of Central Florida. Bea and her crew over there doing great things to help out families throughout Central Florida. So thank you guys for sharing these videos. We hope that you will do the same thing. Hit share it with all your social media friends. Share our great creative artists and authors. We've been hanging out with Theresa Sederholt at the IBF 2019, and we hope that you will continue to tune in and continue to log on every day to see who we're hanging with next. Thank you.
Thank you.
so
It was
much,
very
Theresa.
nice.